did you say?
Anything I talk, not true.
Prestige 91.7.
A very beautiful morning to our listeners. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everyone. It's time for the program Government Stewardship. Government Stewardship is a program put in place to draw the government closer to the people and to also give people opportunity to be participatory in the day-to-day running of the affairs of governance in Niger State. At every point in time, government stewardship tend to enlighten the people about what the government has been doing, what the government is doing, and of course what the government intend to do. The idea all the time is to open the government so that to promote transparency, to promote accountability, and to promote public service as well. And it is in view of this that this morning we shall be looking at yet another aspect of government activities in government stewardship. Don't forget that this program is put in place and brought to you by the Special Advisor on Digital Communications and Strategy in person of Abdulbaki Usman Ebo. And of course, this morning we shall be featuring the Chairman, Niger Foods Limited, in person of Mr. Sami Adigun. Niger Foods, of course, is part of the new Niger agenda of the government of Mohamed Umar Bago. The idea is to ensure food security and, of course, revamp agriculture, through revamping agriculture to ensure that there is a maximum production of food in Niger State. Mr. Sami Adigun, you are welcome to the program, Government Stewardship.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Yes, Niger Foods. For the uninformed, we've heard about Niger Foods. What brought about the idea of Niger Foods?
The idea of Niger Food is the brainchild of Governor Umar Bago. So Governor Umar Bago wanted to develop agriculture, but not as it has been done in the past, because there is no state in Nigeria that has no Ministry of Agriculture. There is no local government that has no Department of Agriculture. But yet, there's a huge gap in agriculture. There's a huge gap in production. There's a huge gap in processing. There's a huge gap in marketing. There's a huge gap in infrastructure. So today, everywhere, everybody is shouting, no food, no food, no food. So it means that something is wrong. So we discussed with him, and he said a few of us should come together to set up a public-private enterprise. A public-private enterprise is an enterprise that is owned both by the government and private sector, but driven by the private sector, so that the private sector can own it, put money in it, and grow it. Because private sector is in business for profit, but government is in business for social impact. So the marriage of profit and social impact helps to drive. Everybody will put his best foot forward. Investors will be confident that their money will not be lost, because they are investing not for social, they are investing for profit. So they want confidence to feel that, look, I'm investing my money where I'll get my returns.
Exactly.
So it is this marriage that we believe will create a change that will help drive agriculture in Niger State.
Now, apart from driving agriculture, before we move into that sector, how does Niger Foods intend to ensure food security in Niger State to avoid the current situation we're in now?
So, Niger as a state is not food insecure. Niger as a state, because Nigerites are highly, highly productive people. What the vision of the governor is to go beyond Niger, is to feed Nigeria. Is to feed Nigeria, because Niger is sitting on 7.6 million hectares of land. Currently, less than 1 million hectares is cultivated, and the population, about 8 million, are also living on less than 8 million. So that means there's a potential of 5 million hectares of uncultivated land. So if you imagine the amount of revenue that can come from 1 hectare, then if you multiply it by 5 million, it gives you the potential that Niger has. So the idea of Niger Foods is to set up an enterprise that would become the revenue center for the state, so that the state can feed Lagos, where there is no land. Niger is almost 70 times the size of Lagos. Feed other countries. Part of why there is food insecurity in Nigeria is that a lot of the food goes to other countries, especially during the dry season, because we're surrounded by the Sahel, and in the Sahel, food production in the dry season is very difficult.
Exactly.
The devaluation of the naira have also added to it, so it's now the CFA is more valuable than the naira. Because of that, it makes more sense for the man in Chad or Niger to just come across the border or in Cotonou to buy food rather than produce the food, because his cost of production is now higher than his cost of buying food in Naira. If he changes his CFA to Naira, he'll get more food buying it than producing it. So it's a business opportunity for us. We only need to produce more, then that means we now have a market all around us which we can capture. So we can create a system to export food. But because we have only produced for ourselves, now there's demand from all around us. So it leads to food insecurity. All of this is the projection that the governor have seen, and he invited us in that, look, we should come work with him to create food security for Niger and food security for Nigeria. And our ambition to do that is within the next 8 years, develop smallholder farmers. We're targeting about 1 million. From data available today, Niger has less than 500,000 smallholder farmers. So we want to double that. That means encourage more youths, encourage more women, to empower them. So if you have, and our target within this next 7 years is for people to double or triple their output per year. That means if you are currently working on 1 hectare, we will take you to 15 hectares in 8 years. And so you can imagine the amount of wealth that you will get, because on your own you can't move from 1 to 15. You need government, you need private money. And that's what we are bringing.
Now, if Niger Food is bringing in private investors and also new initiatives to revamp agriculture or to boost agriculture in Niger State, how does Niger Food also intend to protect the small-scale farmer in such a way that he's not being shortchanged by the wholesalers who always besiege the farm gate?
So there are 2 aspects to this. Niger Food is an enterprise.
Exactly.
There's also the regulatory part. So we cannot regulate the market system because we are part of the system. But government has a role to play in developing a proper commodity market system. What we don't have now is we don't have appropriate data. We don't know what is coming out from what market, at what day, at what month. So we can't predict properly. So for you to be secure, it means you need data. You need to analyze the data and use the data to plan. So part of what we will do as corporate social responsibility is to develop that database, is to develop that database and help the states, which can be a model for the country, to create a commodity market system. Because for you to be able to secure, you need a system.
Exactly.
So homes, you use CCTV system. Why? Because you want to see who is coming, you want to predict. So is our food. So we need a market system. We need market infrastructure to be able to create a system that is predictable, a system that is financeable. Because finance cannot come into something that is chaotic. It also is coming in. Funding follow organization. Funding follow a system that you can predict that this is how it will come in, this is how it will go out, this is how I will get my money back. So all of that are value that Niger Food is going to bring to Niger State to develop a proper commodity market system that will protect the producer, that will protect the marketer, and that will protect the new caliber of investors who will be infrastructure providers. Because for you to have a system, you need infrastructure. You need where the food will be properly stored in the right condition. So there's a lot to do.
Now, currently, we also have issues with processing foods in Niger State. And most of the times, the processing aspect has always been more locally driven than technologically driven. But I think the state is gradually coming up on that aspect. Does Niger Foods intend to go into that aspect of processing in order to add value to what is being produced?
So food security is 3 parts. There's the cropping, which is the production, and what you just mentioned, the second part, which is processing and marketing. We are covering the 3.
Okay.
We are covering the 3 as a company, because if you don't cover the 3, then you can't solve any problem. You need to intervene in production, you need to intervene in processing, and you need to intervene in the market system. because the market system is what assures production. So it's a circular economy.
Exactly.
If the circle is incomplete, then you know there's a problem. So how we're intervening in production, I'll explain, is in three prongs. We're going to support the smallholder farmers. Remember, I just said, in the next, between now and say 2030, we want to move every smallholder 15 folds. 15 folds. It means for you to move in 15 folds, that means every year we want to double your capacity. Double your capacity. So that means in 2024, we're going to double the food production capacity of Niger. We're definitely going to achieve that. In 2025, we double. So if we double that every year, by 2030, we'll have doubled 15 times. So you can imagine the impact 15 times. So it will create jobs, it will create employment, it will create food security, it will solve a lot of social problems. The physical security that we're having is also out of, because people don't have jobs. Because if you were managing your 1 hectare or less, which we even discover most farmers actually have an acre but call it hectare, because they don't even know the size of their land, because nobody has properly mapped it with the right coordinates for them. So we believe that if we move you from, say you're producing 50 bags, to do that 15 times, that means you're producing 750 bags.
Exactly.
So you can imagine the wealth that has been created. And so it means if a neighbor who is not in farming or agriculture sees his neighbor has moved from 15 or 30 bags to 100 bags, definitely next farming season he wants to do the same thing. Exactly. So that means more and more people will come into agriculture. And how do we want to achieve this? With mechanization. That means mechanization, our farming culture and system is 200 years old. Nobody, apart from in this part of Sub-Saharan Africa, uses hoe, cutlass, or not mechanized tools. So we want every farmer in Niger to use a power tool to produce. So if you don't have a tractor, you have a power tiller, you have a power plow, you have a power planter. So that way, you are not using your physical strength that leads to fatigue. Because as a human being, there's a limitation to what you can do.
The machine does virtually everything.
Exactly. Just imagining trying to use your finger to open a bottle of drink, of Coke, or using an opener. That's exactly, it's that easy to describe it. So if you use a power tiller, a small power tiller, if a farmer owns it, he can do 15 hectares on his own in a month.
Exactly.
And if he prepares 15 hectares of land, he can plant it, he can manage it, because he now has power tools. He has a tiller, he has a small trailer, he has all the tools around him. That is our intention for the smallholder farmers. In 2 months' time, we'll be, His Excellency, the Governor, will be signing a landmark agreement to support farmers even beyond Niger. So because it will be a 5 million farmer program, so we don't even have 5 million farmers in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So it will bring a lot of value. So the packages that are available or that will be available for farmers in Nigeria that we have programmed in Niger Food is beyond Niger, because we can't isolate Niger from Nigeria. We can't isolate Niger from the North Central. We can't isolate it. So our program is beyond Niger, but using Niger as the center of gravity, as the production center, but it must definitely spill over.
Exactly. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sami Adigun, the chairman, Niger Foods. And when you look at Niger State in its entirety, is suitable for cultivation of virtually every crop. Now you are talking about interventions in agriculture. Are you intervening in specific crops or in virtually all the crops that are being cultivated in Niger State? Because when you look at from the plain lands in Burara, for example, to the swampy areas in Muregi and Niger South, they are all suitable for rice production. And then the Niger East for yam and other cereals, including the Niger North. Are you intervening in virtually all the crops cultivated in Niger State or specific crops?
Yes, we are. We're going to intervene in all the major crops, because food and agriculture is local. So you just mentioned rice now. We want to move rice production 15 folds. So for every of these crops you have spoken about, we are going to move their production 15 times by 2030. So if rice was 300,000 tons, we are moving it to 5 million tons of rice. So and Nigerian production is just about 7 to 10 million tons. So if Nigeria alone can do 5 million tons, we are practically feeding Nigeria. So that is the purpose of Niger Foods, is because we are going to set up, apart from supporting smallholder farmers, we are also setting up large farm estates. The ambition is to set up 100 large farm estates between now and 2030. And those farm estates will be in different communities, averaging between 10,000 up to 30,000 hectares. Those farm estates will be mega farms, the types that are not currently existing, where you will see farmland without
with no limit.
With no limits. 50-kilometer stretch will just be farms. 10-kilometer stretch will just be farms. Those will require us partnering with communities, using existing government land of government that existed. We're going to convert them into farm estates, and communities that also wants to also bring development. We're going to bring those developments and investors to those communities, because no investor will come from the US now to say Ishua in Paiko local government. He can't get in there, is even a challenge. So how do you attract him? So every community or emirate must think, how do I attract an investor from Nebraska to come to Lapai, where he's exposed to malaria, he's exposed to diseases, there's no pipe-borne water, there's no health care. So what do you give him? You have to give him something he doesn't have to come. But if you don't want to give land for production, then you can't get production. Because it's only in our part of the world where 90% of our land is unproductive. And that is the bane of our poverty. Because if you have 90% and you don't get somebody who can put money on the ground to make your land productive, then you can only and your consumption increases. And then even on where you are cropping, the land is depleting. Because in agriculture, you have to keep fertigating the land. You have to keep improving the land, because the land is sucking the the crop you are producing is taking the nutrients. So it requires a lot of money to put back those nutrients, either chemically using fertilizers or biologically using some biological scientific products that are now available in the market. So those technologies and farming systems and good agronomic practice is what we are bringing. We want to increase the average farmer yield. We want to increase the average farmer, reduce the average farmer stress. We want to reduce the average farmer cost and increase his profitability.
Okay, one major area of concern is looking at the anonymity of the value chain. You have just stated about three aspects: one, production, processing, and marketing. Now, if production increases to avoid wastages, how does Niger Foods intend to secure the foods that are being produced in terms of storage this time around? Because if you look around us, you don't see any storage system. Could that also be an area where investors could be attracted to invest in storage aspects of the food that will be produced?
So Niger State currently has about 6 to 8 silo locations, and the capacity of those storage is 1% of production.
That is my concern.
In food secure societies, for example, in South Africa, their storage capacity is 130% of production. So you can see the difference.
Exactly.
Because your storage capacity needs to exceed your production.
Exactly.
So that you are not at optimum. It's like a bedroom. So you have a bedroom of exactly, that's how the food is. So part of what we're doing, which we've even written the federal government, is to support the establishment of so as Niger Food on our own and our partners, we plan to set up silos of about 1 million hectares. Then we want federal government to also support in setting up strategic grain reserves in the highly productive local governments within the states, which we have identified about 10, and each of those local governments should have a grain reserve of 100,000 capacity. So you imagine that in Badegi now, you have a 250,000 capacity, because you can set up, Badegi is a rice belt and all of that be that basin belt. So if you have a 250,000 ton silo, it becomes a hub where both the producers brings their products and off-takers come to buy. So the off-taker does not have to go to the farm gate and the market, or go on a Sunday market the traditional way we have been doing things. You know, we have this traditional way, but we don't want to change from it. So, but if a system of storage is created, then it means you know what your amount of food that you have in stock in Niger State or in Nigeria at a particular time. It's not in somebody's barn in the house, or somebody's unhealthy storage. Because even storage of food, that's part of why some of our food are not exportable, or when they get there, they don't get premium value, because in the value chain the quality of storage is poor. So and we forget that food degrades before it starts smelling. Is the percentage of degradation that has gone high. Exactly. But that percentage starts from 1%, 2%. So when you test it in a laboratory and it doesn't pass test, somebody say, why? Nothing happened to it. But how was your storage? So our storage and conditioning system is critical. Number two is we're also setting up a food park. We're thinking of setting up one initially closer to Abuja. So that food park is going to sit on about 200 hectares. About 10 hectares of it will just be freezers to store foods that are perishable, because about 40% of food produced by farmers are wasted. And the waste comes from two critical areas: harvesting and storage and processing, just as you said. Because if you harvest manually, as you are cutting it, a lot of the grains are falling off.
Exactly.
So you can say, how much grain do you, from the time you harvest, either it's a guinea corn, it's a soybean or rice, you harvest it manually, already you have lost 10 or 15%. So imagine that volume of loss that is lost, because, well, if a combined harvester harvests it, you don't lose anything, because it's harvested mechanically, it packs it, it stores it, and delivers it to a storage. So you don't lose anything. So that way, that's where mechanization comes again. The mechanization is what will turn the farmers to heroes. That's what Governor Bago said. What Governor Bago said is that he wants to make farmers heroes. And really, when he said it a few days ago, I thought of it that farmers are heroes. They feed us. Without food, we can't survive. We always think of only soldiers and some very powerful people as heroes, but farmers, especially in our food system today, the smallholder farmers should be celebrated, because without them we won't all eat. We won't have vegetables in our market, we won't have tomatoes, because we don't have the large investors farming. So farmers are heroes. I would like your radio station to please help us continue to hail the farmers. Call them heroes.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Sami Adegun, the chairman, Niger Foods. And I will still come back to the issue of storage, because when I asked you, you were talking about the federal government coming to build silos. I mean, the rate at which the governor appears to be showing enthusiasm towards revamping agriculture and food production in Niger State, will you have to wait for the federal government to build the silos? Can't also that mean attracting investors to invest in building silos?
So on the average, the governor and Niger Foods gets more than 10-20 proposals every day, because of the energy he has put and what we're trying to do. So people are already proposing all sorts of support, both local and international organizations, donor organizations. So we're sure, because, you know, agriculture is a business. If somebody knows that from data there's a supply chain, there's a location being developed as a farm estate, 10,000 hectares. That 10,000 hectares at a minimum of 4 or 5 tons per hectare will give 50,000 tons of grain. So naturally, we can now say, oh, come and put up a silo. We give you 1,000 or 10,000, whatever the agreed rate per ton per year. So that's how you create a business, because he now knows that in this farm estate, if he puts a silo, in 7 or 10 years he will recover his money. So it's like a hotel. So you're already, instead of him building a hotel, not sure of, he'll put his money in a silo. So those are the kind of structures we'll be able to create, because if you can't predict production, then you can't invest in it. So we want to be able to create a system where production is predictable to attract investments.
Okay.
And sorry, I didn't finish speaking about the food park. The food park is going to have conditioning centers. For example, if you during the season of harvest of our tomatoes, it's very cheap. Then at a particular time it goes very high. So we want to that's part of food insecurity, because it becomes unaffordable. It affects nutrition. So a family using 1 kg of tomato will start using just for it to color their food. So, but it is because there is no storage system. So all of that, we are also looking for investors. We've done the design already. We won't have the animation of how the food park will look like. So it's going to be a huge food park that everybody producing any form of vegetables within the North Central will bring, instead of it wasting away, we will create a storage for you. Because I just told you we are putting on a size of about 10 hectares is just freezers. Freezers that you can drive in a truck and offload your vegetables. It will be cleaned, washed, and packaged and stored just for a small fee. And you can come back tomorrow, you can come back after 3 months to pick up your stock, and it's marketed for you. So that way, you are the price predictability of food. You don't have food inflation being as high as 40%. We have those huge spikes because there is no system. And that is what Niger Food is bringing. System. That system helps, it brings finance, brings predictability, brings quality, and it brings foreign exchange, because you can now export from that food park direct. Part of what Niger Food is going to do, again, Mina Airport, we're turning it into a Mina Airport exports zone. It means Mina Airport has one of the best runways in Nigeria. It was a long time ago planned to be an agro hub. Somebody told me a story yesterday that when the land for Mina Airport was acquired, the locals were very sad, because that location is very fertile land. And because of the fertility of the land, we want to turn it into an export zone where you can plant, package, and export daily. The ambition of Niger Food and Mr. Governor is to have a flight leaving Mina every day for maybe the Middle East or Europe, taking out food, taking out meat, taking out vegetables, processed, semi-processed, from the airport city. So we're looking at the airport city, which is going to be like a 500-hectare development, to have farms, to have processing centers, to have cargo centers, to have conditioning centers, and cargo planes that will ship out food every day out of Niger.
Okay, when you talk about acquiring the Mina Airport and the reaction of the locals, that also brings to my mind how you intend to synergize with the locals in bringing in this new innovation to their localities, because many of the farmers may be seeing strange people coming within their localities and become worried about maybe their lands being taken away by some other people. Is there any effort, either from the government or from Niger Foods, to ensure sensitization among the locals, so that when you begin to come in to cultivate most of these lands, it won't raise any uproar?
Yes, thank you very much. The land is a very big issue, passionate issue, because in most communities is the only asset that is owned by the people. So our intention is, you use the word takeaway. It's not possible to take away anyone's land. Our intention is to add value to the land. So we want communities who already have land, who have excess land, to give part of their land for food production, both for themselves, for the future of their children, and for development. Because part of the challenge of insecurity is because of a huge land that is not used, ungoverned spaces. So when you don't use a land, then there's a adage that says the devil uses the idle mind or something like that. So when something is idle, then it becomes a problem. So the vision of the governor and us in Niger Food is to use every square meter. Now, for communities that are already farming on their land, we can't take them out of their land. Rather, to support them, we want to cluster them. So if a community cooperates with us and they are farming on the 100 people are spread on 10,000 hectares, we want to be able to put them together to mechanize them, because you can't go around 100,000 locations if you are trying to mechanize. If you want to mechanize, everybody must stay next to each other contiguously for it to be manageable. So part of our intention is to speak to communities using traditional institutions and the local governments and all, and the elders and youths and women, that look, it's important to cluster. When you come together in a cluster, development is possible. Development can be planned. Agriculture can be mechanized. But the way, if everybody is dispersed on his own traditional, I have my 1 hectare here, 2 kilometers, there's another 1 hectare, 3 kilometers, there's another 1 hectare. That dispersal, the cost of me moving a tractor from your location to that location, who bears it? It doesn't, there is no road to move every location. So it's better if every committee comes together and says, this area is our farm land, 500 people on 1,000 hectares. Then Niger Food can come, produce, give them all the inputs they require, from tractors to combine harvester. So that means eventually they are just like farm managers, because if all your process is mechanized, what we need from you is management. So for your management, you have increased yield and you make a lot of money. So we assume every farmer should be able to, on each hectare, might make 300 to 500,000 depending on the crop. And that means if you have 10 hectares, you can make 5 million. If you have 15 hectares, you can make in a season. For our farm estates, we are mobilizing investment for irrigation. To do irrigation today on a hectare it varies. It's between 5 million to 20 million, depending on the technology, depending on the vastness. So for you to recover your irrigation infrastructure on a land, it takes you between 7 to 10 years. In some cases, 15 years, depending on the source of water. Are you using gravity? Are you using pumps to pump the water up? Are you the topography? So a lot, because it has to be designed. That's why there's no fixed cost per hectare. It now brings to the point where, for investors, they need to own the land. So we've done a lot of sounding with investors. Any investor who wants to come and invest on a 10,000 hectare land is bringing a minimum of 50 billion. So if he's bringing that money, what do you give him? He has to probably do an access road to that place. Exactly. He has to do an estate. He has to modernize the whole place for it to work very well. So it is that engagement we are currently doing with communities, for them to understand that this development will come, but it will mean you giving up part of your land. Not giving it up forever, but giving it up for some time. So within that time, the man feels comfortable that I'm going to be here, I'm going to make my money, and then leave the land for you. So eventually it's like a build, operate, and transfer, where you attract somebody to come and build something for you. He makes his money. After some time, he leaves it for you. Because none of us will be here in another 50 years. Exactly. You understand? So it will be things that, so we believe, we've had different experiences. Some communities are saying, oh, please come. Just take the land for free. We are some communities are saying, no, we don't want. So it's normal. So it's like you are looking for a bride.
Usually innovations takes time.
So we believe that we'll achieve our 100 farm estates, we're going to start with a few this year, and we believe by 2030, if we have 100 farm estates in Niger producing this is different completely from the smallholder farmers. So
exactly.
if the farm estates are producing 5 to 10 million tons, smallholders are producing 20 million tons, then the food solution of Nigeria, Nigeria has solved Nigerian food solution, because that's about the tonnage of food we eat. We're also going to do aquaculture. Our target for aquaculture is 1 million tons of fish produced and processed. Some of it will be for export. Why is dollar scarce today is because of our low productivity, where our demand is higher than our supply. But we have the ability to supply. So part of our ambition in Niger and the Niger food is to be a major supplier of foreign exchange to Nigeria, because already without a proper system, a lot of people come to Niger, to the markets here, buy soya and ship to India or to Dubai. So why won't we do that as a state ourselves and make the profit? So that is the idea behind Niger Food, is because it's to be able to do what the private people are doing, making profit, because the state needs money. The state shouldn't beg for money. The state should make money.
Exactly.
That is our ambition.
Thank you so much. And we here at Prestigefm will continue to wish the government a very success in this lofty ambition. And of course, you can join us on this discussion through the number 09038808883. You can equally visit our Facebook page on Prestigefm91.7mx. You can view us live on our YouTube page on Prestigefm91.7mx, and of course on radio app prestigefmradio.org.ng. And of course you can keep sending your text messages. But we have the first message here from Jafar Ibrahim Bendiga. He's saying, good morning, this is great, and I wish this new Niger agenda a successful and colorful outcome to our dear state. And permit me to also wish our former governor, Farmer Umar Mohammed Bago, happy 50th birthday anniversary. As he celebrates his birthday today, may Allah continue to guide him through the journey to success. Thank you so much, Jafar Ibrahim Bindiga. And Isayam Asali is also saying good morning. Before now, I never believed what Farmer Umar Mohammed Bago is saying about farming, not until I saw tractors on ground. Kudos to Farmer Governor Umar Mohammed Bago. Again, I am using this opportunity to congratulate him on his birthday. Long life and prosperity. Thank you so much, Isa M. Asali. We have callers here. We have the first caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
My name is... Sorry, good morning.
Morning.
A very welcome development. At least we have received some tractors now, and more are coming. And this upgrade, they welcome us. But please, if right from the woman back, if we look into this aspect and sign an LOU with federal government, I'm talking about strategic rights. I believe we will see the whole Nigeria will have excess. So please, I would like to write from the woman back to look into this issue.
Okay, thank you so much. Gebu, the Badegi rice mill, which is owned by the federal government, does Nigeria Foods intend to partner with the Badegi rice mill?
Definitely. In fact, I and the Commissioner of Agri were supposed to go to Badegi today, but because of some other commitments, we will not go. So it's on our agenda, and it's going to be back on live very soon. I can't say the exact dates, but we're taking it over, and it will start production very soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
My name is Ibrahim.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
So I just came into the program. Don't know what you're discussing, but I know you're talking about agriculture and development in Nigeria.
Yes, we are talking about Niger Foods and the government agenda of our new Niger agenda, especially in the area of agriculture. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you listen to us and then you'll be in a position to actually come in and make your contributions. And if the the average farmer in Niger State is being helped to boost agriculture, and that by extension also motivate other youths to move into agriculture. Does Niger Foods have some kinds of interventions that will help the youth especially to go into agriculture? Because many of these youths are likely to be coming with no capital at all. How does Niger Foods intend to help some of these starters in the area of agriculture?
So we are encouraging youths to form cooperatives.
Okay.
Because it will be difficult to pick out to do it on an individual basis.
Exactly.
This afternoon we are meeting with a group called AGAN. I think it's Association of Graduates Agri Students of Nigeria, something like that. So the Niger State chapter, who are students who have studied Agri in College of Agri or any university, they formed an organization, and we want to support them because they are already graduates of agriculture who are looking for jobs or who are underemployed. So some of them have read Agri and are doing Okada or are doing something else. So when we're saying, look, all of them, we believe they will be millionaires in 1 year because we will support them. If they don't have land, we'll look for land for them, cultivate it, crop it, and make them agripreneurs. So they will be entrepreneurs. Every youth in Niger who wants to work, if you are not in a group, if you don't know any group, we will put you in one so that we can use, just as I said, we want to use cluster systems, minimum of 100 to 500 hectares per cluster, 1,000 hectares per cluster. So if you don't have one, just either through the Ministry of Agri, approach them, or through any local government, approach them. They will introduce the youth to us, and we will put them in a group, or if they come as a group, even better, and they have their land location better, then we partner with them to produce. Okay. Because like yesterday, I was with the Emir of Mina, and after explaining our system, he said, "Oh, so that means you're a facilitator?" I said, "Yes, that we're helping to facilitate development. That's our role. When we see a gap, if we don't have capacity to solve it, we look for solution all over the world, local, international, who can help us here. We bring the party on board, and we solve that problem for prosperity of the farmer, the state, because in all of this activity, the state will make money."
Exactly. The state will make money, and by extension, that will also mean improve our infrastructure and services also to the people. Comrade Ahmed Ibrahim Agora is saying the Niger Food is a good step taken to boost agriculture and agricultural revolution in Niger State, and that will help to improve food security as well. Thank you so much, Comrade Ahmed Ibrahim Agora. And finally, what of the women folk? Because in all of this you have just explained now, women appear to be having some kind of there's little mention about women in all of your submission. Because I know a lot of women today want to go into agriculture.
So just yesterday, we signed a landmark agreement with NICARE. Okay. NICARE is the state's health insurance scheme. The agreement is to provide health insurance, including especially for men and women, for the whole family. So for every farmer in Niger, Niger Food is going to support in paying health insurance for them. So the health insurance is 12,000 naira per person in a family. So if it's a family of 6, family of 10, the 12,000 naira is not free of charge, but what happens is that it's difficult for people to pay it out of pocket. So in this case, we are going to pay on their behalf because you are our farmer. We want you to be healthy. We want your wife to be healthy. This coverage is including births. So that 12,000 includes cost of giving birth, even CS. So if we pay for that, we are supporting the whole family, because a healthy farmer is a farmer that that can produce. So we take it very important. Then apart from that, if you were at our program yesterday, half of the farmers that came for the health insurance were women. So we're not just, so we always have this principle, and I say that we shouldn't see women, when we make it about women, we're making it seem as if they can't help themselves. Women are strong part of our society. So, and in everything we are doing, either we make money, we spend it on them. Either or the food we are producing, we are feeding them. So women is like a base of our productivity. We are not creating a women Niger food women group.
Yeah.
No.
You know why I ask you this question is because in Niger State, traditionally women are known to be chief producers of shea butter, for example.
Okay.
I wouldn't know in other climes, but in Niger State, women take pole position in the production of shea butter. And when you are encouraging farmers to go into production, I believe that as far as shea butter is concerned, women will definitely take the center stage. So I wouldn't know if Niger Foods intend to look at that aspect too.
So the governor has the program. You know, Niger Food cannot do everything. There's the Ministry of Agri, and then there's the government. But to my knowledge, the government has a program that is going to be for women on animal husbandry.
Okay.
So that when the husband is on the farm, the family also has sheep, goats, chicken. So the governor has designed a huge program around that, which I would not like to leak the secret of this program. Then there's also our production centers, our food parks will involve a lot of women, because in packaging food, you know, in packaging you are just sitting down putting it together. Women are good at that. So we believe that every woman who wants a job in all our processing, so those who are not involved in agriculture, they will play a major role in the second stage, which is processing and marketing, because it's less physical intensive.
Exactly.
So that will capture a lot of the women forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sami Adigun, the chairman, Niger Foods, for the time you spent with us. I'm afraid our time is fast spent. We appreciate all the submissions that you have made this morning. I believe that they are quite enlightening and, of course, very educative as well, and informative too. We sincerely appreciate that, and we hope to get you one more time again in the nearest future, so that we'll continue to give explanations and enlightenment around the agenda of Niger Foods and how it keys into the new Niger agenda in Niger State. Thank you so much for the time you spent with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And listeners, this is where we come to the end of the program. We hope you have been informed, you have been educated. Keep a date with us. This time next week when we come your way with yet another edition of the program, Government Stewardship. Don't forget, the program is put in place and sponsored by the Special Advisor on Digital Communications and Strategy in person of Abdulbaki Usman Ebo. And of course, we continue to appreciate all of the effort that he is making. Ibrahim Gimba has been the DC on duty, and on behalf of all of this, my name is Mohammed Antala Ali, hoping that you will continue to be listening.